What if Israel and Iran escalated into a full-scale war? Tel Aviv's skyscrapers are ablaze, Jerusalem's Dome of the Rock lies in ruins, and Tehran's streets are eerily silent after a barrage of ballistic missiles. The Middle East has imploded, and the world is watching as two sworn enemies, Israel and Iran, clash in a conflict that refuses to be contained. As the US scrambles to respond, Russia and China dance around the chaos, sensing opportunities in the flames. With oil rigs on fire and the Strait of Hormuz plugged, the global economy teeters on the brink, and the shadow of nuclear war looms large. To understand how it started, we have to see what happened before. The conflict between Israel and Iran had been simmering for years. In 2023, things took a dramatic turn when drones and missiles were exchanged between the two countries. Iranian nuclear sites were hit, and the Israeli port city of Haifa was attacked. This escalation was the culmination of growing tensions fueled by Iran's nuclear ambitions and Israeli concerns about their neighbors' capabilities. As the situation spiraled out of control, the international community watched with bated breath. The United States, a longtime ally of Israel, was quick to condemn Iran's actions and pledge support for Israel's right to self-defense. Russia, which has good relations with Iran, called for restraint and calm, while China, a major buyer of Iranian oil, urged both sides to negotiate. The conflict had far-reaching consequences for global security. The Strait of Hormuz, a critical oil shipping lane, was threatened, leading to a sharp spike in oil prices. This had a ripple effect on the global economy, with many countries feeling the pinch. The war also raised concerns about nuclear proliferation, with many experts warning that it could embolden other nations to pursue nuclear programs. In the end, the war between Israel and Iran was contained, but not before causing significant damage and instability in the region. The conflict highlighted the deep-seated tensions between Israel and Iran, as well as the complex web of alliances and rivalries that shape global politics. It also underscored the need for diplomatic efforts to prevent such conflicts from escalating in the future. Now, let's ask the big what-ifs. What if the situation had spiraled completely out of control? What if the US had chosen to intervene militarily to support Israel? Could Russia's calls for restraint have been enough to prevent further escalation? What if China had decided to back Iran more openly, given their oil interests? Would the global economy have been able to withstand a prolonged oil shock? Let's explore them one by one. Number 1, what if the situation had spiraled completely out of control? The Middle East is a smoldering crater, as Israel and Iran have unleashed a maelstrom of missiles, drones, and troops in a war that's left the region in ruins. The United States has been dragged into the conflict, launching airstrikes against Iranian military targets, while Russia and China are providing diplomatic cover for Tehran. Oil prices have skyrocketed, crippling economies worldwide, and the global security landscape has been rewritten, as nuclear-armed nations like Pakistan and North Korea watch with growing unease, wondering if they'll be next. Daily life is a desperate scramble for survival, as civilians on both sides huddle in bomb shelters, praying for a ceasefire that never comes. Number 2, what if the US had chosen to intervene militarily to support Israel? Warplanes scream across the skies as the United States weighs in on Israel's side, dumping fuel on the fire that was already raging between Israel and Iran. The war has become a global hangul, Kosiot enus hangul, koenus hangul, koenus, FLOWS, with Russian and Chinese diplomats scrambling to limit the fallout. As American boots hit the ground, the streets of Tehran burn, the oil markets go haywire, and the price of a gallon of gasoline more than doubles overnight, crippling economies from Warsaw to Tokyo. In the United States, pro-war and anti-war protests rage on, as people wonder if the cost in lives and treasure will ever be worth it. The drums of war beat louder still, as the menace of nuclear proliferation looms over the chaos, threatening to upend the delicate balance of global security. Number 3, could Russia's calls for restraint have been enough to prevent further escalation? The world teeters on the edge of chaos as the full-scale war between Israel and Iran rages on, and the cries for restraint from Russia have fallen on deaf ears. The international community holds its collective breath as Middle Eastern cities lie in ruins. Russia's diplomats worked tirelessly, scrambling to salvage the fragile peace and begging both sides to stand down. But their words were lost in the din of war drums beating across the region. Oil prices have skyrocketed, crippling economies worldwide and sending shockwaves through international markets. In the aftermath, global security has been forever altered, nuclear proliferation has increased, and tensions between the United States and China have reached a boiling point. The world waits to see what new crisis will erupt next in the powder keg that has become the Middle East. Number 4. What if China had decided to back Iran more openly, given their oil interests? China's open backing of Iran has thrown the entire Middle East into chaos. Iranian oil refineries are now shielded by Chinese naval forces, daring the United States and its allies to intervene. The United States, in response, has strengthened its military presence in the region, stationing troops in Saudi Arabia and Kuwait. Oil prices have skyrocketed, crippling economies worldwide as war drums beat louder. Global security has plummeted, with proxy wars erupting across the region as other nations choose sides. Nuclear proliferation has reached a fever pitch, with every nation seeking the ultimate deterrent. Number 5. Would the global economy have been able to withstand a prolonged oil shock? The global economy teeters on the brink of collapse, gas prices skyrocketing to over $20 a gallon, as the Strait of Hormuz remains blockaded, choking off nearly a fifth of the world's oil supply, prompting panicked runs on fuel reserves and emergency meetings at the United Nations, with the United States, Russia, and China engaging in a frantic diplomatic dance. As Europe and Asia scramble to find alternative energy sources, and the oil-dependent industries of airlines, trucking, and manufacturing grind to a halt, leaving millions without jobs or a way to get to work. The impact on the world. Looking at the world now, it's hard to believe we've reached this point. The war between Israel and Iran has left deep scars, and the consequences are still unfolding. The U.S. intervention has sparked a new era of proxy wars, with Russia and China jostling for influence in the Middle East. The global economy is reeling from the oil shock, and the effects are being felt from Tokyo to New York. But as we survey the damage, it's clear that this conflict is about more than just oil or territory. It's about identity and the divisions that can tear us apart. The Jewish state, born out of the ashes of the Holocaust, now finds itself embroiled in a conflict that threatens its very existence. Meanwhile, Iran's proud culture and history are being reshaped by the forces of war and geopolitics. And yet, amidst all this chaos, there's a sense of loss that lingers. A loss of innocence, of trust, of faith in the institutions that were meant to keep us safe. We're forced to confront the darkest aspects of human nature and the devastating consequences of our actions. As I look out at this fractured world, I'm left with a haunting question. What have we become? Have we become so consumed by our differences that we've forgotten how to find common ground? The echoes of this war will be felt for generations to come, a reminder that the choices we make have the power to shape the world we live in. If you enjoyed this journey, don't forget to subscribe for more stories like this.